Hello everybody, Audie here from Ratliff Mandolins, and this is the Ratliff Mandolins production diary for this second week of December in 2024. Now, if you're following the series, you'll know that last week I almost got this oval hole ready to put strings on it. It is Monday morning now, and it is indeed still almost ready to put strings on it. And that's what we're going to do so that I can ship it out to its new home in Lodi, California. The only thing that I have left to do is to fit the bridge top and put the truss rod cover on, put some strings on it. Really and truly, that's about it. So maybe we can ship this tomorrow or the next day. But there is one thing that's going to keep me from shipping it immediately, and that is the tailpiece cover, which has not been engraved yet. Now I'm kind of in a quandary on tailpiece covers because the only two mandolins that are left in this batch are an A-style Country Boy and a Master Model F-style, which is going to get a James tailpiece engraved with a custom Celtic cross. Now, James tailpieces are pretty expensive, and I do my own engraving, so I'm a little iffy about doing a very intricate engraving on such an expensive piece of, and so I would like to do a few tailpieces ahead of time so that I'll have my chops up going real good when I do the engraving for this James tailpiece on this master model. I've got some tailpieces laid out, and let me bring you a little closer and I'll show you what I've got in mind. So we have three mandolin tailpieces that need to be engraved for this one and for the A style and for the master model. Now this is the normal pattern that I put on one. This one is an older one that doesn't have the shading on the interior. However, this is the normal pattern. So in an effort to kind of really get into the engraving and get my chops built up real good, I'm going to put for this mandolin and for that A style in there, this pattern on these two regular tailpieces of the old style tailpieces. Now, just to get some practice in, I have the intended pattern. Now I know that right there looks kind of rough, but I can see where every line is supposed to go. This is the intended pattern for that master model in there on just one of the older regular style tailpiece covers, but it gives me a chance to engrave the, like I said, the intended pattern for this expensive tailpiece. Now I have two James tailpiece covers here. One of them is nickel plated and the other one is gold plated. This gold plated one is going on that mandolin that we're discussing, and this nickel plated one will just be used at some point in the future. So I decided to engrave the standard tailpiece pattern on these two tailpieces, a fancy Celtic cross on this one just for practice, and the standard pattern on this tailpiece, this James tailpiece, just to get practice on a James tailpiece to kind of feel the underlying metal and see what adjustments I need to make in my engraving technique to get along with engraving a James tailpiece. And ultimately, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth tailpiece cover I'm going to engrave this week will be the fancy one that goes on the master model. So I'm going to go ahead and engrave. We're going to put the strings on this mandolin here. I'll play this mandolin for you. We'll get it ready to ship basically without the tailpiece cover. We'll make a tailpiece cover for it, ship it out of here maybe tomorrow, but probably more like Wednesday. And then we're going to spend the rest of the week, or I really am not going to have any other major jobs built up until we are done with 4 tailpiece covers, 2 of them relatively fancy, and so that's where we're going to see how the week works with that as a battle plan and a job jar list. Real quick, I will cut in here and show you this A style that needs to be finished and the R5 master model. Well, here it is. It's the oval hole mandolin. Let me give you some close-up shots of just how pretty this thing is. Nice even brown top. Pretty curly maple. And so now I am going to put this thing in a case without its tailpiece. Spend the next couple of days in my own little tiny microscopic world engraving things. And by the way, I have a video out on engraving and how I do it and everything like that. Be sure to look it up. And if I don't forget, I'll put it at the end of this video. Well, it is now Thursday evening, just about quitting time, and I just got through finishing the last of those tailpieces. So I've been engraving tailpieces all week. I've actually worked on 6 different tailpieces. I have 5 of them here to share with you some details about. The 6th one, of course, went out with that oval hole mandolin. It was shipped yesterday to Lodi, California, so soon it will be in its new home. But for now, let me kind of share with you these tailpieces that I've engraved. Like I said, I've got 5 of them, and so let me give you some close-ups of each and a little bit of explanation of what you're looking at. This first tailpiece here was just on an old mandolin that I had done the initial engraving but had never done the shading. Let me see if I can turn it here so that you can see the shading. Yeah, see how everything lights up. I have to turn it in just the right light, but I did that just to kind of get started with my getting my chops back. Then I did 2 just exactly like this. These are whole tailpieces, not just covers. And of course, one of them went on the oval hole that went out of here that I was telling you about earlier. And this one will be maybe for the next mandolin that gets strung up. This next one in line is the pattern that I had picked out for the R5 master model. The fellow wanted a Celtic cross on a James tailpiece, and so I wanted to do the pattern first. This is just a regular stamped tailpiece, but now I can use it on another mandolin, but I went through the pattern, you know, practiced that pattern. This is a James tailpiece. It's a nickel-plated James tailpiece, and I just wanted to get used to James tailpieces. You have to take the cover off, and I had to build a kind of a special holder thing to hold these tailpieces over and above the older style. And so I put my normal pattern in there with a little bit of variation, but basically my normal pattern went on that. So I had practiced doing the Celtic cross, and I had practiced on engraving a James tailpiece and kind of getting used to the feel of the underlying metal and all like that. And then I tackled this. This was the ultimate goal of the week, the Celtic cross on a gold-plated James tailpiece for by special request from the customer. And here is about as good a shot as my little camera will let me give you. And there's that. And I'm going to put these things back in their respective boxes on their respective shelves to await their final disposition, and pretty much call it a day for Thursday and start back tomorrow with the last A-style mandolin in the batch. I'm going to see if I can't put strings on it. Maybe play a tune for you if I get that far along. And then really the only thing left in this batch of mandolins after that will be the R5 Master model. And that'll be pretty much job number one for next week's video. But for now, we're going to finish up Thursday. Well, here it is, Friday afternoon, and I have put the strings on this next to the last A model mandolin on this batch. It's a, like I said, an RA5 Country Boy. It's got nickel hardware, spruce top, ebony bridge, a nice walnut overlay, and some really nice curly maple back, sides, and neck. Pretty nice little mandolin. This is mandolin number 1284, and for the most part that's going to be the end of my work week. I think I do have just a little bit of time left, and I'm going to go grab that master model and probably take the tape off the fretboard and kind of get it ready. But that's going to be pretty much all I get done this week. Those tail pieces and this mandolin, and getting the oval hole shipped to California. Hey, why don't you come back next week for another episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Production Diary, and I will look forward to seeing you then.